Hello and welcome to this September recap. If you're new here, my name is Sneed-Grays and I am a professional oil painter newly based in the Seattle-Tacoma area. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really document a lot this month, so this video will be commentary on my studio shed being built and things that I was thinking about throughout.
Building a shed.
He's building the shed. He's building the shed.
Yeah. So right now he's that red thing. It's called a level. He's making sure. See the red thing? Yeah, that big red thing he picked up. It's called a level, and he makes sure that the wood is straight.
Okay.
Okay.
So the few that may be watching the creation of my art studio shed, please, if you know anything about building and you see that there hasn't been something done correctly, let a girl know. There has been too much money spent, and if I need to call the company to have them assess whatever needs to be assessed, I will. But yeah, just throwing that out there. Okay, thanks. I thought that it was extremely smart how they were layering the walls on top of one another. This is one wall. They layered it on top of the base of the shed, and they just kept doing that until they needed to, I guess, lift a wall and just begin that process. But this was real fascinating to see. Anytime I would have a question, it would obviously be answered by them continuing to build. I failed to get how they hoisted this wall up, but this wall is probably standing at 10 feet. Since the shed itself, it's 8 by 12 feet, I wanted it to be tall. Like if I'm gonna have a somewhat of a small space like that, I don't want to feel boxed into a small space. So I thought, let's have taller ceilings. And man, I knew it was going to be tall, but I didn't realize it was going to be this tall. But walking into the space is exactly how I wanted to feel. So that's pretty exciting. I also had to keep in mind that if we wanted the space to be bigger than 8 by 12, that most likely would have warranted a permit that we would need from the city to get this shed built. And the last thing I wanted was something else that slowed down getting this shed built, because I have things that I need to paint, shows that I am in the future, and I just needed it completed sooner rather than later. By this time, I was trying to figure out why they did not trim the trees, bushes, whatever this is that they're having issues with, because I told them you can trim it if you have issues, if it's in the way. And they're like, oh, it should probably be good. Yeah, by the end of this, they were yelling explicits because they were so furious that this tree just couldn't let them be great. So
There you go. You got a little walkway. See, you did it.
I did it.
I thought y'all were going to trim it. Yeah, you might as well. Just take it out. Yep. Yeah. Why didn't you do that before? Just don't hurt yourself in the process. Mad at that. Yo.
So actually, before even starting, they told me that they did not have the door or one window for this shed. which I thought was interesting because I'm just like, y'all know y'all could have called me and rescheduled when y'all actually had everything for the completion of building the shed. They didn't. So I was just like, don't cut the holes out for the door and the window. They said they couldn't do that for the door, but the window they could do it. They could just leave the shed as is and not cut any holes. So anyway, we're going into this. I see the magic happen with them cutting the door. Mind you, I'm actually very impressed because they don't have to measure anything. Like, they've already measured out everything. The holes that they need to cut are already outlined by the 2x4s for like the windows and the doors and things. I'm like, oh, that's actually pretty genius. It's probably like basic construction stuff, but I don't know. I don't be watching people build like basically houses, so this is all fascinating to me. I ordered soffit vents. I hope I'm saying that correctly, for ventilation, obviously, because I am going to be working with solvents and I need it to be well ventilated. I had to research a lot of just the options that they had. I obviously needed to keep in mind, hey, this is going to be an art studio. This is not a shed that you're placing yard tools in. What do you need in order for it to be a safe and efficient space? At this point, the only portion that I questioned and was a little nervous about was the gap between the front wall and the lip of the roof. My thing is, I feel like it's going to compromise the integrity of the structure, and I just need it fixed by way of a trim being placed there. Obviously, I need the shed caulked and all of that prior to painting, but because of the weather conditions here in Seattle, you can't get your structure painted quite yet. No worries, we're going to do that in the spring, but I'm working with a renovation company, proud to say, to get this shed done and ready for me to paint in. Another note, at this point I'm trying to figure out why this guy is cutting a hole for the window that he does not have. My goodness. Long story short, I was left without a window for 3 weeks and I had to use a tarp to cover it. Not fun. They came back out to install the window. Not in the time frame that I'd like, but you know what? It got done and we're not going to harp on the past.